we expect today? Would the meeting even hold at all with Nyesom Wike saying that if he does not approve of it, if it is not authorized, it will not happen?
All right, thank you, Dr. Batian. You've also done some good job of unpacking all these issues. Let's start from Jonathan that you talked about. I mean, yeah, it's an ongoing conversation, and I can tell you, I mean, there are different political strategies that are ongoing ahead of the 2027 general election, and there's a particular group of Northern apparatchiks that are actually calculating ahead of the 2027 election. If the South is not careful, it could be a very huge challenge. So this is the thinking among some of these top political leaders, that Jonathan will contest in the PDP. Peter Obi should go and contest in the Labour Party. President Bola Tinubu, of course, will continue in the APC. And of course, Atiku Abubakar will go ahead to contest in the ADC, like you would have heard him say that he's in the race and fully in the race. And what does this happen? What happens out of all of this calculation? The idea is to actually weaken the votes from the South, and maybe potentially Rotimi Amechi out of anger too, also going out of the ADC to actually do something else. And by the time you tabulate the figures that will be coming out from the election, the South would be weakened by so many candidates that would have contested. And Atiku Abubakar will still be very strong in terms of the votes that he would have got. Because the idea is to push anything other than Bola Tinubu to Northerners, to sell someone like an Atiku Abubakar that is capable of actually dethroning Bola Tinubu. And of course, with the votes that will be coming out divided from Peter Obi, from Bola Tinubu, and all of that, you have a situation whereby there may be a likelihood of a runoff, and that will be a huge challenge. Now, getting back to the issues of Goodluck Jonathan, contesting, does he really stand a chance of getting the ticket? Well, the thing is, what I've learned from people close to Jonathan is that he has asked the PDP, people within the PDP that are approaching him, to go back and fix the party, to fix the wicked problem in the party. Now, they used to say that the PDP had an Atiku problem. Now Atiku is out of the PDP. Let them also go and fix the wicked problem in the PDP. And today, there are some decisive actions that will be taken. One of them that we are looking out for is the report of the Tom Ikimi-led National Disciplinary Committee. We hear that that report will be laid before the National Executive Committee meeting today, NEC meeting, and all those who betrayed the party from 2023 would actually be disciplined, or if they don't take a crucial decision, that action will be hot on the table, but then the decisions will be deferred. And let's talk about this NEC meeting hold. It's going to hold because they actually have an issue at hand, and this is it. The National Secretary of the party, from what I gathered, actually signed for the NEC meeting to hold in their letter to INEC, but refused to sign for the letter authorizing the National Convention to hold. And so the PDP NEC will be taking a crucial decision today, and we'll be looking out to see whether Samuel Anyan will be present at this NEC meeting. Because if the letter goes to INEC and there is no signature of the National Secretary of the party alongside that of the National Chairman authorizing the convention, then you will not go back to what Wike has said in his interview sometime last week, that he's waiting to see if the convention or not will hold. And his major grouse is actually that Dan Obi, who's the National Vice Chairman for South-South, has not been recognized by the National Working Committee yet after that Calabar meeting. And then, of course, Ali Odefa, the National Vice Chairman for the Southeast, is still being recognized, while Wike is saying that that shouldn't happen. But then, most of the leaders are saying that they must have a party ahead of the 2027 general election, and some people within the Wike political camp too are already saying that Wike's high-handedness need to be called to order. And so this is the assignment that Jonathan has given to them. Whether they can deliver before he takes his decision or not is left to be seen. But I can tell you that there are exciting times ahead of 2027 general election, and President Bola Tinubu and his APC has to be very, very calculative and careful. And we all wait to see how it all plays out.
Exciting times. I like that phrase. Exciting times come 2027. Let me talk about Dati Baba Ahmed and this call for him to embrace the ADC. And also, I think it's not contradictory for him to say he wants to run with Mr. Peter Obi in 2027, but does not want to join the ADC, where Mr. Peter Obi is at least in support of. And then you mentioned something about the PDP coming together. I'm really interested in that disciplinary committee report. We've been talking about it a number of times. But what do you think the outcome would be when Governor Seyi Makinde was there at the last meeting that they had in Lagos, and he was part of the G5, as well as people like Mr. Samuel Ortom. It's not just Nyesom Wike who is under the radar. There are other governors who are still very much a part of the PDP today who could have been, who could be said to have been, involved in party activities.
Well, for Dati Baba Ahmed, I've spoken with party insiders and they said he should be ignored because, he's a political lightweight and it doesn't really command the sort of influence he's trying to peddle around. And so they say he can't be a decider for Peter Obi as to what should happen or not happen. But Dati actually has some point here. It could it be that he's already seen the signals that Peter Obi cannot win the ADC's presidential primaries. That's why he's urging him to come back to the Labour Party. But then the question is, which of the Labour parties should Peter Obi come back to? Because despite the Supreme Court judgment and then, of course, a federal high court judgment, the Labour Party is still being divided. We've seen an injunction, a court injunction coming from a court in Nasarawa State insisting that candidates of the Labour Party from Abure's faction should be taken by INEC. But INEC has not taken a decision on that. And so what still applies right now is that Abure is not the national chairman of the Labour Party for now. So, but it's left for INEC to decide whether he is or not. And if he becomes the national chairman, will Abure allow Peter Obi to come back and get the ticket of the party? And who are those? There are some people who are saying that Peter Obi must stand for a contest in the Labour Party. If indeed that will happen, can people like that mobilize enough votes for Peter Obi if he does become the candidate of the party, considering that he lost his polling unit, his ward in the last election? So people are saying that, if that really means well for the country, that he should support an opposition coalition. And with Atiku Abubakar insisting that he's going to be in the race, well, it's a really, really tough challenge for them. But I can tell you that it's a huge challenge ahead for both the Labour Party and the ADC. Because if Peter Obi does stay in the Labour Party, can he garner the requisite votes? Wouldn't he give, the support to what I said earlier, that there are some northern leaders who actually want Peter Obi to be in the Labour Party and contest on that platform? And you have an Atiku Abubakar being on the ADC, Bola Tinubu, and the APC and all of that, so that the southern votes will be divided more, and then Atiku can see how he can have more votes from the north, and then either Atiku wins by a slim minority, or they go into a runoff, and then of course it will be a huge decider. On the issues that we have in the PDP, the Tommy Kimi-led committee report is one that I've been on. Don't forget, people like Otom have been summoned to come and appear before the committee at the Legacy House of the party in Abuja here, but he didn't. And so, Makinde seems to have been repentant, and he is saying that, look, the PDP must stand as a strong party. If you had heard his comment last week, he had said that if you review the outcome of the by-elections that were held, that PDP, where it didn't win, came second in most of the places. And so PDP is still like a darling of the Nigerian masses. And so the party must be put in top shape. He has been putting all resources together to ensure that the party is brought in place. And you will see that he has really done well, because he supported President Bola Tinubu in the 2023 general election as someone who comes from the southwest, wanting to do what Yoruba people call Yoruba Parapo. That's unity of the Yoruba people to deliver President Bola Tinubu, including against his own candidates in the senatorial and House of Rep elections. But what did Bola Tinubu do? Did Bola Tinubu pay him back in his good coin? He didn't. No appointee from Oyo State into the Bola Tinubu presidency. And how did he reward them in Oyo State? He brought someone from the Accord Party to be the minister from that state. That is Adebayo Adelabu, who is the Minister of Power. Not even from PDP or from the APC. And so it's time for Seyi Makinde to also want to pay back to President Bola Tinubu. And you would have seen that from the Ibadan North Federal Constituency election that happened. Seyi Tinubu wants to be his own man. And he wants the ticket of the PDP too to show President Bola Tinubu that he can make an inroad into the 2027 presidential poll.
Anyway, let me just quickly just correct some things. When Kelemes was APC on loan to Accord, so that was an APC person that President Tinubu brought into his cabinet. In fact, he was the candidate for governorship of APC in the last election. It was because he had a squabble with the person that became the candidate of APC. So he's still an APC person through and through. So Accord was just a
loan. Accord party.
It was just a loan fringe party. He went on loan. You know, when the player goes on loan, he's still owned by the parents' club. So he's still owned by APC. So he just went on loan to Accord. But are we justifying hypocrisy by saying Seyi Makinde is repentant? A man that went against the grain of his own political party. What happened to being a party man through and through when it doesn't favor you? Because a lot of political watchers are saying, people like Seyi Makinde, they are now crying wolf today. He wants to fix the same PDP he helped destroy just in the last election cycle because it did not favor him. What happens to be a party man through and through? The other question I also like to ask is, are we not just supporting hypocrisy when we are quoting a court case from a Nasarawa court that is the Labour Party after the Supreme Court have given finality on an issue that Abure faction has no role to play, and INEC has appended that in the last election? Because we forget that Abure faction also had candidates in the last by-election, but INEC said no, you have no right. And the candidates that were adopted were the candidates not from the Abure faction. And as regards that, Ahmed, have you snooped around to also understand that maybe that he might have been pushed by some forces to say the things he's been saying lately as regards Peter Obi and trying to say to pretty much coddle the Abure faction? Maybe the puppeteers that are pushing Abure too are probably pushing Dati. Have you heard anything relating to Dati's even assets in Abuja? You know he has a big asset there. Have they been looking at him somehow based on his assets that he has in Abuja? Sources are talking.
Well, very interesting perspective you brought in place. I mean, there are talks here and there that there's an APC wing of the Labour Party, and then, of course, an obedient wing of the Labour Party. And we've seen those influences here and there, because some party insiders are actually accusing Dati Baba Ahmed of wanting to actually swing to the APC thinking of what the Labour Party should be ahead of the 2027 general election. But while he insists that he's still a dominant force and that he remains committed to Peter Obi, and that Peter Obi can only contest the election if he remains in the Labour Party. Because if he just goes to the ADC or PDP, there's no how he's going to get any of the ticket. Well, he may have his own point, because like I keep insisting, Peter Obi has never won any political presidential primary of any major political party. You know what happened? He was just handed the ticket of the Labour Party in the last presidential election cycle. And so if he does stand in either in ADC or Labour Party or PDP, this will be his major test at a national primary election. And so we are waiting to see that. But party insiders keep saying that, look, that he should actually just come to the ADC and support them over there. But what they keep insisting that Atiku Abubakar should step aside, he's too old, he can't lead. But Atiku, in his own wisdom, believes that, look, the best way to actually win the election 2027 is for him to be given the ticket, because he's the only one who can mobilize other political party leaders to win in the APC. But talking about some of the issues that are happening, Seyi Makinde and all of that, yes, I mean, in politics, you can't be too hard at times. And sometimes you have to be very flexible to allow certain things to happen. And that's why I'm saying that ahead of today's NEC meeting, some party insiders that I've spoken with in the PDP said that they are prepared to sanction Wike today. In fact, that's what one of the elderly persons said. The Wike's problem is becoming so much. And just quickly, Dr. Abati, that they are saying that Samuel Anyanwu has continued to stand on the part of those against the party and not discharge the responsibility of his office as National Secretary and discharge the oaths of allegiance to the party which he took. And now Samuel Anyanwu himself is divided because he wants to stand for the Imo State governorship election, and the party's structure in Imo State, he will want to appropriate it. Now, I've heard that he has said that he wouldn't want to betray his friend Nyesom Wike for the second time again, like he did last time in 2022 when he signed Atiku Abubakar's papers to INEC when Atiku emerged as the party's candidate. And so he's divided whether to go with Wike or to continue to maintain his position as the national secretary and go with the party and sign the document so that, he doesn't make things hard for himself. So this is a very dicey situation. And if he doesn't take the right decision, I also hear that the NEC may take some strong decisions against the national secretary of the party for not signing a letter INEC for the convention to hold in November.
Now, I don't want you to overrun as you did last week, but just two quick things. The first is that we should be soft on Dr. Dati Ahmed. 2027 politics is still developing. Maybe there are peculiar situations that will still need to be accommodated, and those peculiar situations, we need to review their nature. If a man says, well, I'm still watching, I think the responsibility of the main party, the ADC, as it now is, will be to further, discuss with him. But I don't know whether you are going to be at the next meeting of the PDP today. Please, if you see Chief Olabode George there, please remind Chief Olabode George that in Lagos this last weekend, almost all the big persons that are with him in Lagos, they are ported to ADCO, whether it's Adams or it's Chief Raman Owokoniran or Dr. Abimbola Ogunkelu or Captain Tunji Shele. Over 5,000 of them, came forward and said they have left PDP because PDP looks like it is an intensive care unit, and they do not think that it will recover even after the national convention. So just ask Chief Olabode to check whether the troops are still behind him, or is a general without troops. Well, that's up to you. You make the decision. Yeah. Just to remind him, in case he has not read the story.
Yeah, very, very interesting perspective. So why don't you think that Bode George is just there in PDP, just hanging on and waiting for the right time before he actually moves to the ADC? Because you would have seen those leaders who moved to the ADC. Those are very, very top people, including Shele, like you talked about, former PDP state chairman. And you will see that actually the ADC is beginning to plan ahead in such a way that everything is building around Atiku Abubakar and for him to actually grab the ticket. And some people are also conversing that if Atiku does get the ADC ticket, and things go very, very well, that the PDP, in one way or the other, may be forced to support an Atiku presidential bid in the ADC. But the major problem of the ADC right now is that INEC has not even listed David Mark as the national chairman of the ADC, and Atiku Abubakar hasn't picked the party's membership form at the moment, though I hear that he'll be doing that next month in September. So it's a potpourri of issues, and we all await. But I can tell you, maybe Bode George is just bidding his time too before he eventually moves to the ADC and join Atiku Abubakar.
There's something you know that we don't know. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, Dr. Mati.
Anyway, thank you. We'll see. That's why I say it's a developing story. And take it easy in reaching assumptions about persons like Dr. Dati Ahmed. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to Victor Ogenwanyi, a retired investment banker. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Rising cost of things, we need to plan our next move. Guy, I agree with you. I mean, with the money we make, we should not be struggling with our finances now.
Maybe you both need better banking options.
What do you know about better banking options?
I recently moved my salary account to Polaris Bank, and since then, it's been a smooth ride for me. They bought over my existing loan and gave me better interest rates and repayment terms.
Are you serious?
Yes, as a Polaris salary account holder, I can get personal term loan, auto loan, mortgage, 50% salary advance, credit card, and more without going to the bank.
Really?
I've got a personal term loan already. See, here's my credit card too.
How do I make the move?
Simple. Open a Polaris salary account on Vault. Use salary account as your referral code.
My guy, I am moving my salary accounts now.
Get personal term loan and more with your Polaris salary account. Vault is available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
And the winner is...
I have watched this clip countless times. October 11, 2024. The moment that changed everything for me. It all started in 2020. I emerged state champion. I didn't win the national prize then, but I kept teaching and I kept showing up. Fast forward to 2024, I won. I was able to organize a nationwide mathematics competition, recognizing and rewarding young mathematicians. I have since been able to nourish the minds of students all over the world. My fellow teachers all over Nigeria, see this opportunity. Visit www.motilateacheroftheyear.com to apply for free on or before the 5th of September 2025. You never know until you try.
Maltina, nourishing minds, share happiness.
Generals, we have a crisis. They're everywhere. We have only a few seconds to contain them.
The ultimate weapon, Carex, kills 1 million plus germs in seconds. Let's deploy. Win the war against germs. Carex kills 1 million plus germs in seconds.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics and high-quality proteins. And all of these work together to support your child's development and growth today and tomorrow. NanKid 4, nourish your child's potential.
This girl and many more children like her will never forget. They felt grit, they felt determination, they felt the power of sport. Throughout this year, 7.5 million children across Nigeria will feel the same power through me. But we won't stop there. Next year, we will reach even more schools, more communities, and inspire more champions.
We don't like to eat better, more nutritious meals, more veggies, but we want it tasty and easy too. No cubes, that's the secret. Made with real ingredients like chicken, parsley, and garlic, and enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
In a world powered by innovation, Unicell continues to set the standard. From world-class specialty chemicals to cutting-edge oil and gas production solutions that keep the crude flowing and power engineering services lighting up industries. Unicell is at the heart of progress. Unicell delivers world-class solutions that keep industries running and economies growing. Unicell, we have energy.
My name is Austin Azoko Kocham, but you all call me JJ. That's because I was so unstoppable, they named me twice. During my days as a professional footballer, I played as an attacking midfielder. No one could stop me, not even malaria, when mosquito bites. Now you too can be unstoppable if you use Lonart against malaria.
Lonart, a combination of Artemether and lumefantrine. Lonart, be unstoppable.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nigerians are divided on the current reforms by the government. The critics think there is nothing good about it. They point to the economic hardship in the land and the suffering of the majority of Nigerians, exasperated by the continuing insecurity, which is also threatening food security because people cannot go to their farms and cannot grow food. This has contributed to the increased food inflation, which has refused to come down, a key component of the core inflation figure. Joining us on the show to discuss the state of Nigeria's economy is Victor Ogenwoye, a retired investment banker. Good morning, sir, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Ogenwoye, good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's cut through the chase. I read your piece. Nigeria's economic reforms, and the responses so far. And I thought you were too lenient, too pro-government, too, how do I put it, in that particular piece. Because you ended by saying, Nigerians should be patient, that the Tinubu administration is doing so much for them. They have a cash transfer, they have a NEL fund, civil servants have a credit card, then SMEs, they are getting subsidy and all of that without providing empirical facts, which is a notorious phrase on this table, to back it up in terms of evidence that in fact this is actually not just phrases, but that they are phrases that are impactful. And then you ask the Nigerian people to be very patient, to make sacrifice. Is the government making the necessary sacrifice? And you're asking ordinary people to make a sacrifice. When we see government officials going about in latest editions of vehicles released just weeks ago in Europe. So, and then you said, sincerity of purpose. Are you also crediting government at all levels with sincerity of purpose? Your article, very lucidly written, clear thinking, but the conclusions are wonky, in my view. You can't defend yourself.
Dr. Amaka, thank you very much for having me. First, let me point out that the current reforms are reforms that should have taken place several years ago. When you delay a decision, the consequences are going to be different. And that's one of the things that we're seeing. If you remember that this same issue of fuel subsidy removal came up in 2014. But unfortunately, the government at that time, they don't have what I would say the strength to take the right decision and damn the consequences and explain to the people what needs to be done. Deceiving the people that the naira was 400 naira when you and I can take $1 and go and change it for 700 doesn't make any sense. Those are the two major economic reforms that have taken place, and everything else is based on that. Now, let me also tell you that I have not praised government. I'm only saying that from the results that we are seeing, things are moving in the right direction. Inflation is trending down from 30% to 22%. Even in the US, it took Biden over 3 years to be able to bring inflation down. So it's not as easy as we are looking at it. Secondly, take the issue of foreign stability. We now have a stability of the naira rate. Meanwhile, don't forget that for over 15 years, we were propping up the naira with reserves that we should have put in our reserves to support the naira. The reason for having reserves is not to use to make payments. It's to give confidence to those we are trading with, to say, they are strong enough. So if you have a $40 billion reserve, for instance, you can get 150 billion from all your trading partners who are looking at the kind of reserve you have. So if we have placed those monies into our reserves, we would have been in a much better place today. Look at all the countries in the world that have strong currencies. They have huge reserves. Even Singapore won't disclose it to you, but everybody knows that they have a huge reserve. So many other countries you look at, that is the basis of supporting a currency. And then, of course, you have to look at productivity. We have absolutely no good productivity in Nigeria. We all know it. Now, let me point out that everybody will say, I always have this argument with my friends, you are always supporting IMF, you are supporting government. No, I support sensible economics. What we are seeing is, finally, somebody has said, look, let's stop this, cut this nonsense and face the reality. Nigerians are going to suffer for a little while more. But I can tell you that my estimation, in about 2 years, we are going to start seeing things turning for the better. We are already seeing signs in a balance of payments. We are seeing signs in government revenues going up. These are all things that should have been done in the past. You can't use 2 years to make decisions like that. There are areas that the complaints are very genuine. For instance, there's wasteful government. You and I see it every day. That is something that they can do something about today. There is no doubt that corruption has not even started, to be fought. Because the people fighting corruption are not really looking at corruption. They are doing other things, activities, but not fighting corruption. That's why I have said, for instance, that EFCC should look backwards and look forwards. First, they should draw a line. From now on, this will not happen again. There are thousands of things to do today. Money, you can follow money to anywhere today. You can't, it's not the days you bring Ghana must go back. You don't see billions in Ghana must go back. It goes through a system. So there must be actual pointing to where are the problems, where do we go and tackle them. Then for the past, just bring about it and say, look, this is what we have against you. It will be controvertible, evidence, and then he will be able to force you to come and, if you don't want to go to jail, come and settle, bring our loot back. But instead of wasting time, I have a personal case that I can tell you that 9 years EFCC has been holding. They have to answer only 2 questions. Somebody said you stole his dividends. Somebody said you sold shares and you said it was below. Yes, you can't do it in 9 years. They've made 3 amendments. 9 years. How many cases are you going to do that? So, all said and done, government has a role to play. That's why I said all ends up in sincerity of purpose. If government doesn't have sincerity of purpose, any leadership that doesn't have sincerity of purpose is wasting time. Because every other thing doesn't make any sense.
That's how you conclude the article.
Yes.
In talking about sincerity of purpose. I'm going to ask a few questions, or 2 questions actually. The first one would be around some of the interventions and safety nets that this government has done. You praise some of the efforts. You can now fund, you looked at some of the things that they've done, but according to the WTO DG, even that is not enough. I don't know if you agree with her or not. And if that is the case, what are some of the areas? Because whether you like it or not, I know you're telling Nigerians to be patient. I think they'll tell you that they'll be patient long enough.
Yes.
And their patience is running. In fact, there's hardly anything left of the patience. So 2 years is a bit too long to ask people to wait to begin to see impact. In the immediate, what are some of the things that this administration can do from its savings to cushion the effects for a number of people?
You're very correct. The truth is that even though they've done some, they are not doing enough. You see, the devaluation of the naira for 50% is a lot. But believe it or not, go and check the Japanese yen. Between 2019 and today, it has also dropped 50%. If I was trading at 97 in 2019, the Japanese yen is trading at 145 today. But to the Japanese, it's meaningless because they are one of the most efficient economies in the world. They are very productive, and the lower rate for their currency allows them to export because they are an exporting company. We don't do any of those. So those are some of the things. However, in terms of, I believe that the poor needs to be really, really impacted with this thing. They should hasten the card disbursement they are doing, cash transfer. They should do it properly because there are also issues around that.
Yes.
About whether they are actually doing it or they are giving it to their brothers and sisters, we don't know. So these are the issues. If the government is sincere and they want to really, they are making good effort. What they are doing economically is the right thing to do. But they have to show us that they are serious. Let me give you two things that they can do today that can help everybody. Look at the issue of electricity. They've been able to sign into law one of the best ways to quickly get electricity to everybody by decentralizing it. But they should now go to the acceleration angle. Tell every state, everybody who is going to put up a distribution line or put up a national grid. In fact, scatter the national grid. It doesn't make sense. It's the same centralization we have about Nigeria. You want to do this, you must go to Abuja. That's nonsense. The national grid, they should leave them to the regions they are in, put them to this. Let states build new one. Tell each state, for every grid you are going to build, if you are paid 200 billion, federal government will give you 100 billion. Not that shit, because there are private people that they can put together to do that. We create instruments, like instruments that will make sure that government gets the money back. Instruments like discountable or convertible securities. So we are giving to you, if you can't pay, we will change it into equity in the company so that we can take the company back. We can't do what has happened with Discos, just keep giving them loans that they don't pay and we don't see any improvement. Something has to give in terms of what I told you. Sorry, the second one is, look at agriculture. Today we are having problems with farming and all that. However, even what we produce today is wasted mostly. Now, why can't government say, Bank of Industry, for the next 2 years we are creating a fund. Anybody who wants to have a processing plant, that way you don't have to go to the farm. Because there's so much of agriculture that if it's processed here, we won't need to go out. Yeah. And that is a low-hanging fruit. It will employ people, it will create jobs, it will actually allow us to be able to export to the African trade agreement that will enable us in foreign exchange. These are things that can be done today.
You know, while I was on there, I was really reading your articles you to get a fair assessment. You see, the problem with I have your article is that, let me put it this way, there are many things that are so easy to challenge, and you didn't put empirical facts there, like Dr. Mati said rightly. So you use loophole. You are saying the Naira is stable, but you also forget, and maybe you didn't add to the article, that this year alone, we spent, first half of the year, we spent $4.7 billion defending that same Naira. It wasn't added in your article. And despite the fact that we first 4.7 billion defending that Naira is still undervalued. It's not the true value we have at 1,500. The value, a lot of economists have argued should be about 1,100 thereabouts. That's not in the article. The next thing you said, okay, let's fight corruption and everything. Let's deal with post-harvest losses. But the same governments that have concessioned out most of its silos, and most of the money you are saying that they should give to the poor in social investment program, they started the disposable of that investment program, but it's not far-reaching enough. So when you also go to the angle of, okay, the results, for instance, a part in your article did also talk about the fact that at a point in this country, if you remember, this time you said we're frittering away the money. From 2006 to about 2010, you can check me, fact check me on this. Our results were good enough to be able to pay off even all of our national debts. But what happened to those reserves? It was squandered, and we borrowed more money. So you are saying we should have a reserve as an hedge to borrow more money. Is it because the CBN did not also make it public when the net reserve dropped to about 5.9 billion when they were clearing out derivatives in about May of this month? So it's because we have some inflows that we put on for 1 billion at this point in time. Does not mean everything is Uhuru yet. September, we're going to have another payment of close to $500-600 million. Another quarter before the end of the year, we're going to have another payment of $1.5 billion. So there are many empirical facts that I see missing in this. You were saying, the Jonathan government did not have the willpower to pull out subsidy when they did. You forget that the same government that you are defending as if we should be patient with was the one that went on the street and told Nigeria that if you pull out the subsidy, Nigeria will crash. And they shut down this country for 2 weeks. So there are a lot of open-ended arguments that you don't put empirical facts to.
Let me take this one by one as much as because there's a lot that you unpack. First of all, the empirical evidence we are talking about is very clear. The macroeconomic ones that you can see, inflation is trending down. You can't dispute that.
After we change the weighted
Wait.
You know, we changed the weighted average inflation.
That has nothing to do with.
No, but you know we did. We reduced. No, can you confirm to me, sir?
We did
that. We reduced the portion food takes in inflation, and we reduced the weighted average of food in inflation.
Now, look. I don't. First of all, my arguments are going to be restricted to economics. So I'm not talking about the politics. However, like I said, empirical evidence that we can see that the economy is recognized. Inflation is going down. Balance of payments is positive. We are having, I don't know whether we can claim that we are having low unemployment. However, there's something significant about.
You know, we changed that weighted average.
Wait. There's something significant about what they did. We are a country where you and I know that the biggest economy is not the official business. Is the informal sector. For the first time, are you telling me really in your heart that how many Nigerians, 33% of Nigerians don't work at all? They don't have any employment. That's not really, it's not really realistic. The truth is that the majority of those people may be underemployed or they are employed in the informal sector. This is the first time we are beginning to recognize that. So it is likely, I'm not saying that where they are saying is inflation is declining, but it's definitely not 33% that we push all the time. Again, you are talking about cash transfers. I've said that. I have no doubt. My argument is that the cash transfers will be spent here anyway. So it's not. So you should do it as long as it's done transparently. And that is the reason why I said everything I've said though is edged on a government that wants to do things in a way that we can see and judge by having a very easy way to measure, which is, do they have sincerity of purpose? And that can be measured by everybody. Finally, you talked about the 4.7 billion that have been used. Let me tell you, for instance, if you see...
And the currency is still undervalued.
No. The currency of undervaluation is not scientific. I just told you about the Japanese yen dropping in last 5 years 50%. But the reason why they don't feel it is that they are an exporting country. That's it.
No, it's deliberate.
It's deliberate. In our own case, in our own case, we have to first of all correct something that is wrong before you can do anything on it. Just one point. Is it okay? Please. Now, the 4.7 we are talking about, this is what happened. Funny enough, in late 2020, in middle of 2024, I had speculated that when the Naira first crossed 1,000, everyone was panicking. I said, this is not it. My speculation will be around 1,500. The reason I was doing that was that if you see the South Korean won, their currency, is trading at 1350, and they are the one of the most productive economies in the world. They are exporting. If they can be trading at 1,300 to the dollar, why do you think Nigeria that is unproductive should be any better than that? So we have a long way to go. There is no scientific way to determine where currency is, whether it's efficient or not. All those are speculations. Let us see is stabilize at the first thing so that people can make decisions for the long term. That's exactly how I want to answer that.
Okay. Yes. You said you just talk economics.
Yes.
There was a lie I caught in part of your earlier contribution where you were talking about an issue you know about that has been going on for 9 years involving the EFCC and all of that. Now, for the benefit of people who know you very well, you are quite a known figure.
Thank you.
In the economic space, particularly in the capital market.
Yes.
So, are you referring to a personal experience, to an issue that you are having to resolve with the authorities? And let not somebody watching this interview think, oh, they have brought Mr. Ogenwonyi to give him an opportunity to whitewash the Tinubu administration so that he can make peace with them. You need to give us that clarification.
Now, all I can tell you that when cases are in court, that's why I didn't give any. I said, I just mentioned what I'm what I know. I did not attach it to any specific case of mine or anybody. There are so many. We have cases that have been ongoing for over 10 years. They are all in this system. What we are saying is that we should find a way to get these things done properly. And getting them done properly, if I were to give details of what you are asking me, it will be inappropriate because of the court issue. But the reality is that there is injustice going on that is ridiculous, that anybody who is concerned should be able to see through, cut through the chains. Let authorities, if they want, they can call me, I will come. Let me tell them exactly what I mean. I will be able to explain to them. So that's for that. I am not doing any laundering for any government, or it's a pity I mentioned the general. If you see my article, I said past administrations. I did not say specifically general. I just use that as a way to clarify. I'm not interested too much in politics. It is the economics I'm talking about. And what I can see, I am beginning to see that the government policies that were put in place are heading in the right direction. No matter what criticism you have, that's my own opinion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for expressing your own opinion on the channel, just breaking down a few things as well. Thank you. Well, time for a short break now. When we return, Ewan Akejola will be here with Global Sports Updates. Stay with us.
In the hearts of our nation, courage stands tall. The Nigerian army is here, protecting us all. Through trials and challenges, our spirit won't sway. Together we rise, come what may. Listen closely, Nigerians, to the truth we uphold. Fabricated stories won't tarnish our gold. Dismissed and disgruntled, they spread lies and despair. But your Nigerian army is dedicated and fair. Every soldier, every officer stands for the right. With honor and integrity, we defend day and night. Your safety, our mission, our oath, we will fulfill. For Nigeria, we are steadfast, always ready, strong-willed. Don't let the noise mislead you. Stay informed today. Trust your Nigerian army. We're here to stay. In unity we stand. Together we will thrive. For a prosperous Nigeria, we will always strive. Stand strong, stand proud. We believe in the army that safeguards our freedom to achieve. Together united, with strength as our guide, we will chase away shadows and falsehoods to hide. Nigerian Army, protecting lives, building trust.
I love you too, and I'm going to miss you.
Have a safe trip.
I'm in Dubai.
Stay connected to what matters. Enjoy affordable rates with Glow Data roaming bundles when you travel abroad and no bills shock. Dial *312# and select 5 to choose your data roaming bundle.
Can't believe how beautiful this place is.
For 5,000 naira, you get 125 megabytes. For 10,000 naira, you get 1 gigabyte. And for 25,000 naira, you get 2.5 gigabytes.
Mealtime is game on. Meet my SureBet Game Changer, made from natural ingredients to deliver game-changing chicken aroma and taste for my whole team.
Mom, why did we not use this before?
Upgrade your chicken game with game-changing chicken flavor from Maggie Chicken.
Are you struggling with health? Do you need financial help to access it?
Baby, make you love in the boss. Baby, make you kiss in the boss. Baby, make you love in the boss. Baby, you fucking to the boss. I'm sorry. Enjoy
initiative of Access Bank. For more information, visit our website on www.vwcommunity.com or any Access Bank branch nationwide. You can also send an email to wks@accessbankplc.com. Terms and conditions apply.